I'm Lynn Finnegan Bailey, a local beekeeper here in Connecticut, and I'm here to tell you a little bit today about beekeeping so that you can work on your bug badge. Bees are insects. Insects are anything that has 6 legs, and I have a giant, this is not a murder hornet or anything like this. This is a replica, plastic replica of a honeybee. We're going to talk about honeybees today, where they live, and I'm going to show you a few things that I know about honeybees. This is an apiary. An apiary is where honeybees, it's your yard. It's your bee yard. I have 2 hives in my apiary. All the bees make up a colony. So I have 2 hives and 2 colonies. In nature, honeybees might live in a dark place, in a tree, or someplace in nature where they can get a little bit of an enclosure and build their own honeycomb and have their own hive. These are man-made hives, places where the bees live, and it's May right now, so this is the bee entrance over here, and the bees are coming and going in and out of their hive, their home. Inside that hive are 3 different types of honeybees. There is 1 queen bee. There are maybe 50,000 worker bees, and there are maybe 100, 200 drones, and those are the male bees. The service that honeybees provide is pollinating. You've probably heard of pollinating and its importance in our food source, and the honeybees actually leave the hive, the worker bees, the field bees, and they go from flower to flower, and when they get inside of a flower, they get a dusty, often yellowish colored pollen on them, and they get it all over their hairs, they get it on their antennas, they pack it in these back legs of theirs where they have a pollen packet, and you can actually literally see the pollen on their legs sometimes when they're coming back to the hive, bringing it in the hive. And that is a food source for the bees, the pollen. In my apiary here, I'm going to show you what some of the bees look like when they're in their home, in their hive. They sting from the rear end. Their stinger is in the back of the body. They don't bite, they sting. In the front, they have a long tubular thing for getting nectar out of flowers. In the back, they have a stinger. Honeybees can only sting once because when they stick that stinger in you, it's kind of barbed. It gets stuck in your skin, and when they pull away, it pretty much rips their guts out. So they're dead. So they can only sting 1 time. Still, might not feel so good. So that is where protective equipment is very key, very important. You don't want to get stung on the eyes, in the face. It can be dangerous. If you see a hive in a field or a farm area, it's not wise to investigate the hive and check it out. You have to be with a beekeeper to go into that hive because it can be dangerous. Honeybees are not really that interested in you. They have a lot of work to do. They're very, very busy, hence the term busy bees. It is so true. They have a lot of jobs. There are 2 levels of this hive, and each level has 10 frames. This is a frame. This frame is completely empty. This is a plastic foundation. There is nothing on it. This side, the bees have started to build up honeycomb. You can see the wax being built up, and that's one of the jobs of the bees, the worker bees. Worker bees have a lot of chores. Both nectar and pollen are what bees get from the flowers, and they bring it back. And if you can see in this, there's a little bit of glistening in this honeycomb, and that is nectar being stored in the honeycomb. The bees have to dehydrate that to the proper water content. Oh, and that is, there we go, good point. What's packed into those cells that look like kind of yellow, waxy plugs, that's the pollen. That's packed into the cells, and they take a mixture of the nectar and the pollen and combine it, and it's called bee bread. And that's what they feed to the eggs, the larvae, the baby bees that are in here growing. The field bees are flying out and going and getting their pollen and bringing back pollen and nectar. They may have an excess. They may have so much that they don't need it all. And that is when a beekeeper gets to take some for themselves. They get to harvest honey. Now, you have to leave some honey in the hive because that's their food. That's what they need to feed all those young bees that are maturing. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this super, this is called a super, it's got 10 shallow frames in it. This already has comb in it from last year. And I'm going to put it on top of the hives here where the bees are living. This is their home in here. The baby bees are in here. They've got nectar, they've got pollen in here. They're doing their thing. But I'm gonna take this, what we call this honey super, and put it on top of here so that any extra nectar that they bring in can go into this, and then I can harvest that and take that and have honey for myself and my friends. Here are some bees. I'm just checking for the queen. I always want to make sure that she's not crawled in a place that I could manage to lose her. So this is my inner cover. Again, I'm going to give these babies a little puff so that they're not too upset with me. I'm going to take this inner cover off. Look what we have here. This hive is very healthy. It's very full. I'm just going to place this over here. I'm not going to pull anything out of here because my mission today is to put the honey super on. This is an excluder. So what it is going to exclude is the queen. The queen is in here. I don't know whether she's down here or up here laying her eggs, but she's in here somewhere. What I am going to do is put this on the top of here, and that is sized in such a way. See how they kind of go, hey, I'm going to get them all out of the way so I don't kill anybody. I'm going to slide this on. Now, the sizing of this allows the worker bees to come through it. But the queen is too big. She can't fit through this. So now I'm going to put this honey super on top, and the bees can come up here and pack the pollen, pack the nectar into these frames. But the queen will never come up here and lay her eggs. So it'll never get mixed in with her eggs. So this will just all be nectar, and then eventually they'll transform the nectar into honey by dehydrating it. What we have on the outside is the pollen. The capped comb is where the brood is, and on the very edges, what looks glistening is the honey, the nectar that has not been capped over yet. So we have a lot of empty comb in the middle where the queen can come and she has space to lay her eggs. Which was drone comb, which are the male bees. They're toward the bottom. They're bigger, and they are emerging right out as we speak. You can see the white coming out. The other bees are trying to help them get out a little bit. Those are the male male bees coming out, being born. And inside in the middle you can see larvae, you can see capped brood. This is a good frame. You see pollen in here. So we've got a lot, and we've got honey on the very edges, some capped honey where my finger is pointing over here on the very edges. So this is a frame with a lot going on. And let me see, the queen could be on here. We also have, there's a queen cell, an empty queen cup, I should say, a queen cup. You can see bees with pollen on the back legs. There's a lot going on there in on this frame. Okay, I'm going to put this back in. Oh, here's a great example of a honeybee with packed pollen in her back legs. She is loaded with pollen. Look at her. She's done her job. She's gone to bees, she's gone to the flowers, she's gotten pollen, she's brought it back to the hive. Let's see if we can get her. Come on, you. See, they're not really that interested in me. We'll bring her right down here. Get in there. She'll go in there, pack that into a cell, and later on that will be fed to the young bees. But it's fun to see the different color pollen come in from the different flowers. So that's what I know about honeybees and how important they are. And I hope you like them too, and respect them. And thank you very much.